This conversation is going to elaborate more on our hustles, our experiences, our pros and cons of traveling abroad, what we see the future to be. I want us to motivate our viewers. Maybe somebody is trying to take the step we have taken from watching this video. They can decide if it's a good or bad thing. So we have this episode in 4 stages. We have discussion time, we have opinion time, we have story time, and then we have smart time. So we will go with discussion time. Now, before we go, my brother, I will give you the platform to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, and what you see the world to be. So please, you have the platform.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jeffrey, for having me. It's officially my first podcast I'm joining this year, 2025, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Nicholas, and originally I'm from Nigeria, and right now I live in Hungary. And shortly before now, I used to live in Nigeria with my family, and for 2 years now, I've lived here. I embarked on an educational journey, and I'm so glad it's coming to an end in less than 1 or 2 months. So I'm glad about this. That's just a little bit about me, you know.
Anyway, congratulations on your upcoming graduation.
Thank you
So,
so much.
what is the plan? Is Africa the future? Is Africa in your plans future, or it's Europe that is there? Give us a little bit of the iceberg, and then I'm going to ask you why,
Wow.
based on the answer you give me.
Mm. So right now, even as I speak to you, that's still quite a difficult question to answer. But Africa is in my plan somewhere because I come from there. I have my family there. I have some, 1 or 2 attachments still back home. So
Mm-hmm.
Africa is in my plans somewhere, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ideally, I would love to stay back in Europe because of the opportunities to travel to other countries and see other things, to see the world. I also would like to stay back because here in Europe, you can have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You can say you want to do something by this time, and there's a plan to work towards. Simple
Mm-hmm.
example is you want to go somewhere by 3 o'clock, you know that the bus comes by 2:15, you know, you can make your plans and you can, plan yourself towards this. So for these 2 reasons, I would particularly want to stay back in Europe for now. But yeah, Africa is in my plans.
You
I hope.
mean Europe is very much organized and the system is working, and that is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that makes it very attractive. I
For
mean,
me.
comparing both places, do you think that the average African youth sees everywhere to be a place for greener pastures except Africa?
Yeah, lots of lots of Africa youth see it this way. But funny enough, I still have friends. I still have even some family who see Africa as the future for them.
Really?
They have their businesses going on. They have their lives going on, and for now, it's not in their plan to, move anywhere else. Africa, Nigeria particularly, is the future for them. They're staying back and they're trying to make it work. Big ups to them. Big ups to them. It's not easy.
It's very
Yeah.
good you brought up this point. Now, I am going to ask another question, but after this elaboration. The
Hmm.
people who are in Africa who keep saying that Africa is good, Africa is the future, Africa has potentials, are the people who are not living in the Zongo, are the people who are not living in the Abulado, are the people who are not living in the Kaswa.
Of
These
course.
are the people who have houses at Banana Island, East
Hmm.
Legon, and all these top places. Of course, they have been able to buy Mercedes Benz, they are driving in Range Rover, they are living in a 5 bedroom apartment, they drive from their house to the supermarket. So, of course, they see African in a different way. But
Mm-hmm.
who is a true African? A real African is the boy who is born in the Zongo somewhere in the slums with no education, no electricity, no food. When he gets into an accident, there is no proper healthcare structure. There is
Mm-hmm.
nothing like. Do you even have psychologists or therapists in Nigeria? In Ghana, we don't have it. I don't.
Yeah, well, in Nigeria, if you say you have a problem and then you need a psychologist or you need a therapist, it becomes a joke. You become the topic. Nobody sees you as you actually seeking for help. But
Yes,
this is actually you crying out for help because
for
you need
help.
help.
So these are the real Africans, if you ask me. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think they see a future in Africa? Because the person in Europe, the person in America who is even homeless can get hurt and he can get a phone and call an ambulance, and then it doesn't matter if he's homeless or if
Or
he
not?
has a house or job. They'll come in. So do you think these people in Africa, they have a future based on what you
Definitely
have
not.
seen coming outside of
Definitely not.
Africa? Please
Definitely not.
elaborate.
Definitely not. This is the people who say Africa or Nigeria is the future, like you mentioned, they have things going on for themselves. They've
Mm-hmm.
been able to stand up, they've been able to do something. So the things happening around Africa, the reasons why we say Africa is not the future, doesn't affect them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they have good medical, they have good cars, they live in good houses, they have electricity, even though electricity doesn't exist for everyone, they have
Mm.
electricity, they're able to afford food, eat good, party, club. You know,
Yeah.
for them, the real life situations do not affect them because they have a way around it. But for the
Yeah.
guys in the Zongo, the guys in the villages, the guys coming from the ghetto, Africa or Nigeria is not the future because you do not have a voice, first of all.
Yeah.
You don't have a voice, you can't speak up. Even if you were right, you would get you will get clamped upon just to make sure that your voice is, shut down.
Mm-hmm.
They do not even have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they going to start from? How
Mm-hmm.
is it going to be? You know, also the culture does not recognize them,
Yeah.
because of where they come from. These places that they come from, the culture does not give them an opportunity to speak up. So for these guys, I'm afraid, but Africa or Nigeria is not the future for them,
It's
for
not
these
the
guys.
future.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
because I mean, are we right when we say there is no hope? There is no faith. I mean, it's good
No,
to have hope. If I know I really don't want to go about trusting African governments, and I don't want this podcast to be political. That's why I'm not even going to the government. But then looking at Ghana, it doesn't matter which government is in power. There are some group of people that I think there is no hope. I have confidently stated that for me, I think Africa will never change. I mean, this is a big statement, but for me, I think Africa can never develop. For me, based on my perspective, my perspective, based on my vision. Because if you think Africa will develop, then you are being delusional. Because the people that we are competing with, look at where they are. Bro, look at South Korea. A country like Ghana, we gained independence the same year with South Korea. Look at Ghana now. Look at South Korea now. The difference is
can't
big.
compare.
What do you think are some like the major factors? I want one. What do you think Ghana, South Korea? What do you think Ghana stroke Africa did wrong here? What do you think South Korea stroke these people did right here?
So I think it's the people. That is where we just got it wrong. The people. So I would not say Ghana got it wrong or South Korea got it right, but I'll say Ghanaians got it wrong, and then South Koreans picked up some things somewhere. I saw something somewhere, and he said if you take Germans to Nigeria today,
Mm-hmm.
after 10, 15 years, Nigeria will start to look like Germany. But if you
Hmm.
take Nigerians to Germany today, after 10,
Wow.
15 years, Germany would probably look worse than Nigeria looks today.
And that is actually very true. You know, I haven't really thought about it. Now, let's not make it Nigeria and Germany. We make it very limited. Let's take Africa and Europe.
Africa and Europe
If we
as a
take
whole.
Europe to Africa and we take Africa to Europe, and considering the resources that we have as
Oh my God.
Africans with the gold, the timbers, the diamonds, and everything, the oil and everything, the good weather, they will make Africa like, and I'm sure by the next 15, 20 years, when you come to Berlin or when you go to Amsterdam,
You would have to change the name because for them, when they go to when the Europeans probably go to Africa and they do everything they want to do, they probably
hmm
wouldn't like to call it Europe again. They would want to give it a better name because
yeah,
now there's more resources, there's
there's
more
more
money, there's
resources.
but oh,
I
I
mean, they
don't think
basically have nothing. If you look like a place like Europe, they basically have no natural resources. But look
nothing.
at them. And if you look at Africa, we have everything. Like, I was watching an interview from Steve Harvey. He's also half Ghanaian. He was saying Africa can live 1 century without importing anything. We don't need gold coming into Africa. We don't need cocoa coming there. We don't need oil coming there. We don't need food coming there. We don't need water coming there. We have everything,
Everything.
bauxite, everything. We don't need to import anything. Yet still, we are the poorest. We are the
It's
most
crazy.
miserable. Like, don't you think it's a curse? Yeah.
It's
Don't you think
crazy.
it's more spiritual than physical?
I think 80% is spiritual. I think it's more than a cause.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, looking at Nelson Mandela, looking at Sankara, looking at Gaddafi, these
To
were
mention a few.
visionary,
Just a
great,
few.
yeah, just a few, just a
Just a
few. This is just,
few.
these are the ones that I was able to
Of
keep in
course.
mind, just a
Hmm.
few. They were doing great for Africa. For some reason, they were either unalived or cleared from the system. And now, I mean, I was driving to this point. We have Ibrahim Traore or Traore. I mean, it's very French. I always have a problem, but you know what I'm talking about.
Pronounce it.
Ibrahim Traore. Yeah. In your perspective, do you think he's doing a good job?
I think he's doing a great job in trying
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
revolutionize, yeah, and change the idea about Africa, starting with his own country. You know, change the mentality, change the way things are done, standing for what is right, justice actually. But
Mm-hmm.
I have a great fear. You know, just like these other great men of time past that you've mentioned, something always
Mm-hmm.
happens. And one man, I'm afraid, one man is not enough to change or
Yeah.
break these curses that we have. So
Yeah.
one man is not just enough. Every time I hear only his name, I don't hear the people he's working with doing
Yeah.
things. I don't hear the people in his country even accepting this thing. We just see what he does on the headline and we're like, okay, good. But it's just the headline and it's just one man. We need more people to stand behind him. We need more people to actually emulate the simple things that are right. Starting from
Mm,
starting from the basic things like timing, communication, you
yeah.
know, the basic tidiness,
Yeah.
cleanliness. Or we need to emulate these basic things at first as a people, and then we can climb up the ladder.
I have two takes. I think one, he is young. He's just 34 years old. He's just a
34.
few years older than us. So he
Mm-hmm.
has the vision. Two, he's not a coward. Versus other countries in African countries president. They
Mm-hmm.
are older. Their perception and perspective of life is
It's
different from
different.
us. Their
Mm-hmm.
goal is different. And two, of course, they are cowards. For me, that is my take because why wouldn't they support what Ibrahim Traore is doing?
It's true.
Everything he's doing is in the interest of the African man and African woman. Why the hate? So why do you think the hate? Is it still about our attitude?
That one I would relate to selfishness.
Mm.
I forgot to mention this is another really big problem with the African society.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody likes to think about themselves first,
Mm-hmm.
themselves and only themselves, not the society at large. So I think these other, government officials or holders who are not supporting what he's doing is because of their own personal interest. If you
Mm-hmm.
start to give the people what they want, it means you start to lose your power somehow.
Yeah.
It's what they think or it's what they feel. So
Mm.
this part for the other government officials who are not holding back and supporting, I would say it's because of their own personal interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And I think he has done really well to intimidate some Western powers. I was reading an article where he denied an invitation to the White House, and which is huge. Like an
wow.
African president who has been invited by the president of the United States, who is tagged as the most powerful man on the globe, inviting you to the most prestigious office in bureaucracy. And he said at the moment he is busy
Mm.
with some current affairs in his country and he can't leave that behind and come. And I think that was a very huge and big move. I don't think I don't think 95% of African presidents can do this. Do you think
Even
so?
myself, even myself, if I was president today, I don't think I would say no. I'll probably say, "Oh yeah, I'm busy now. Let's reschedule for."
No
I'll,
African president will say they are busy. They are
no,
coming now
no,
and now. Like the
now,
moment
right
the
now,
invitation falls in, they are coming now,
right
right
now.
now. But yeah, that was a very brave move. And I think yeah, he's doing very well for his country. I also just saw a video from a YouTube channel, Watermaya, where he actually went there and the people of Burkina Faso are actually, most of them are actually in support with what their president are doing. I think the only thing that he might have done bad was the coup d'etat. But then I think sometimes you
It's
have to
necessary.
really force some things to get a freedom because ever since he came, look at the changes he has done in his country. And the sitting president was there looking at this happening, all in the
Happening.
name of bureaucracy, democracy, and what have you. It's
Sometimes we
a,
have
it's a,
to.
it's a, it's a very good, I mean, yeah, so the discussion time was pretty much simple. Now the opinion time, that is where I will need more of your opinions.
Okay.
Since we are two Africans, we are two black men, who are not living in our motherland. I normally do a lot of research, and there is a new form of racist movement that has aroused. It is called the Black Fatigue. Have you heard about it yet?
No, not
Then
really.
I will explain to you. Black fatigue. White people or people who are not black, especially in the US, are tired of black people. They say black people have very stinky attitude, very uncivilized behaviors. Like there are a lot of videos where you see black people misbehaving, like and actually there's a lot of violence, robbery, killing videos, and the suspects are black people. There are a lot of or ruthless activities, ruthless behaviors, and when the video comes out, it is a black woman or a black man. Somebody has shot somebody, it's a black man. A woman is cheating on the husband, it's a black woman. A woman has killed somebody at the hospital, it's a black woman. Like every day, black man, black woman. So the white man said they are tired. Black fatigue. Do you think they are right?
Hmm, that's a good question.
Black
So,
fatigue. Do you think they are right?
mm, to a large extent, I would say yes. And so some other aspect, I would say no. I would say
Please
yes because
elaborate.
I would say yes because not to lie, I'm African as well.
Mm.
And sometimes the things I find myself doing unconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I do some things unconsciously because of maybe some attitudes which I grew up with or some things
Mm-hmm.
which I perceive as right or normal based on where I come from. But after when I'm doing it or when I'm done doing it and I think about it, it's like okay, this thing is there's something that is not right here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
something is not right here. But this is for me who has maybe taken off the lens to be able to see other people's culture and other people's way of life.
Yeah.
Sadly, a lot of my African brothers and sisters do not take off this lens when they go to places. They
Mm-hmm.
come with these lenses and they remain with these lenses. You come
Mm-hmm.
to somebody's country and you're trying to tell the person how to live their life, or you're trying to show the person how you live your life in your own country. That's not too acceptable. I'm sorry. On the other hand, I think the man who is not African or the woman who is not African, because of the continuous effect of this thing, sometimes even without finding out, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a hasty conclusion is made that this terrible thing was done or is done by a black person.
Yeah.
So this is where I say I agree. It's a yes and it's a no situation for me. So it's a yes because a lot of times we do these things that are in unwritten laws but not right, you know.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, these guys make hasty conclusions about us. It's
Yeah.
it's like it's like a quote I saw somewhere. I saw something somewhere, and it read, um, "Every terrorist is a Muslim, but not every Muslim is a terrorist."
Hmm. That is pretty much discriminative, actually, if you ask me.
For me, it's not right. It's not
Yeah.
right. It's not right. But it's
But 85% of the chances that
you know
statement is true.
it's true. So I'm just trying
Yeah.
to relate it now to what we're talking about. So I could say, in other words, every troublemaker in this European or Western world is African, but not every African is a troublemaker, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I can understand the fatigue because I mean I've lived. So take for instance, I live in a small city in Hungary,
Mm-hmm.
and in this city where I live, there's people who have lived in this city for the past 40 years and they've
Yeah.
never seen an anomaly. Like they've never seen something go a different way from how it's been going for the past 40 years.
Yeah.
Now somebody comes and starts to live here for 1 year, and for the
Mm-hmm.
first time in your 40 years of life, you see something so strange.
Yeah.
And this strange thing you see is not even right to begin with.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Sometimes we dismiss the way they see things. Somewhy we don't acknowledge it from their point of view.
From their point of view.
Where we, the minority, make a mistake is we come to their country and then we start thinking that everything is about us, which
You
is
know,
actually very wrong.
so
I
this
mean,
is
racism, discrimination is bad, but then they are not entirely entitled to keep us happy. It
to
is
keep
not
up.
their responsibilities to make sure that we are happy or we are comfortable. Sometimes they might be go like you meet a white person on the bus sometimes. They are having a bad attitude towards you. Maybe it's not because he's racist. Maybe that day he's going through life. Maybe his landlord is bashing him. He needs to come and pay rent. His mind is like, or maybe his girlfriend is pregnant. Something like there is
Something,
something worrying. So it
of
has
course.
nothing to do with racism. At that day, he's just not happy. And then there are people who are actual racist, who actually don't like people. There is also a comment that says, like these black people in America, they are shameless of nothing, entitled to everything. shameless of nothing, entitled to everything, control of something. Like there is a very nice quote they say about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find it and I'll post it on the screen of the video
On
when
the
I'm
screen.
editing.
Okay.
That's really 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 makes sense. So yeah, I think with the black fatigue, they actually do have a point because right now, as we were talking, when you go to France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Portugal, these are the countries I have been myself to see. When you go to these countries, unfortunately, when you go to the areas where the Africans are, they have actually started making that place to look African. The streets are dirty. They are selling on the street. Their kids are misbehaving on the streets. There is noise pollution. They just don't respect the environment, which is very bad. And of course, like you said, if there is a white man or white woman who was born in Rome for 40 years, and then all of a sudden there is another town in Rome and you guys are turning it into some place in your home country, it is very bad.
Of course.
These are things that we need to try to change. And then when there is any crime, there is an 85% chance it was caused by a minority who is either black or an Arab. When there is something bad, black man, Arab man. These two races are always
Always.
carrying the last in this. Like what? Oh my!
Always.
It's
Always.
very sad. What are some things you think based on your perspective? What are some things you think we can do as a community or as a people to help solve these narratives?
First of all, the mentality. It's all the
Mm,
mentality. It's just, you know, it has to change from up here. It has
yeah.
to change from maybe what I'm used to doing is not actually right. You know,
Uh-huh.
you can sit back sometimes and just reflect. Maybe what I'm used to doing, what my mother taught me, or what I saw my mother doing, or my grandmother in or wherever I grew up, it's probably not right.
Uh-huh.
And to go to a large extent, most of the time we know it's not right. So speak
Yeah.
about the streets being untidy, the
Yeah.
kids running around. It's not right.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know why we tolerate this.
Yeah. And then in within the city, after we have done all these bad things, the white people now remove their kids from that community. And for example, they take them into another school in another district. And then now they are like, no non-white kids. And then now these same black people or Africans or Middle Easterns who are in the country who have destroyed the community in within the country will now turn around and then will be crying that the white people are racist because they will not now allow them to bring their children again to come and
The same
destroy
school.
the place again. Sometimes these people, their argument has a point. They really have a point. Me, sometimes I don't want to be biased, not because I am African, I'll always
Of
support
course.
my people, but my people are doing so much bad. Last 2 years, last year, September, when Apple released iPhone 16, somewhere in Atlanta, two young black men just rushed into the Apple store and started picking the phones and ran away with it. That evening, there was a crackdown on the black communities. How many black people were arrested? How many black people were hurt? And if black people are doing this, what do you expect the police to do? Of course, they're going to come into the community to come
Of
and
course.
find it. So sometimes, if we are doing that, then we should respect that that is what is going to happen. So even when we have left Africa and we've come to a modernized society,
We
this
still.
is what majority of people are doing. So I think there is no hope for the people back home.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Jeffrey, anytime you say this, I feel like a tear in my heart, you
It's
know,
the
because
truth, bro.
I'm one of those people who still, even though I don't live in Africa right now, I'm one of those people who, you know, has a lot of hope for a change in the future. I do not know when and I do not know how,
For
but
me, It's impossible. I will
You
tell
know,
the truth. Do you think there is going to be a time where you can have your bike, drive it from your home in Lagos, go to the supermarket, leave it outside for 25 minutes just to go into the shop to grab some chicken, some wine? Do you think that when the poor man is being abused by the rich man and they go to court, the judge will not accept any money from the rich man in Africa? Do you really think that when the chief superintendent in police assaults his wife, he can be prosecuted? Do you think that here in Europe, even if the prime minister is being reported by his wife that my husband has assaulted me, they will not go to his house and confiscate him?
quickly,
Which minister in Ghana or in Nigeria who will have the police coming into their house to arrest them? Africa is not going to get better, bro. It's not a curse. It's observation. It's objective. It is there. I don't know. I don't know if you've had if you've lost any family member in an hospital in Africa. I have. Looking at the system, like the way the system doesn't care about people's life. There is a whole major street in Accra with no street lights. No street
crazy.
lights. And every year they are doing campaign for new presidents. There is a traffic light on a major junction in Ghana, and the red light, the bulb in the red, is faulty. For like 3 years, nobody, the state hasn't even given money, like $100 to the policeman that take it. Go and buy a bulb and go and put it in the traffic light. How many accidents in a week? About 17 to 20 accidents. Nobody cares. In Japan, an earthquake will happen today. By Monday, the road is done again, even better.
You wonder
Africa
how.
will never, bro. It's not a curse. This is objective. My grandfather was saying this in the 60s. His great grandson is here, and I'm saying it again. People in Ghana, sometimes they see new buildings, new infrastructure, like, ooh, Ghana is developing. What's developing? What's developing? This is the bare minimum, bro.
They, they,
Building house and roads are the bare minimum. What is development about it?
that is basic amenities. That's what is supposed to be there. House, road, water, But I have a question now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not alive at this time, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
I've seen pictures, I've seen videos, I've spoken to a few elderly people who told me there was a time Africa was good. Okay, I'll speak for Nigeria. You gave an
Mm-hmm.
example of riding your bike to a store, going
Yeah.
into the store, picking up, or being able to travel from one part of the country to another part and
Mm-hmm.
not having the fear of insecurity, getting kidnapped, having an accident because of bad road. There was a time things were good, fairly,
Mm-hmm.
fairly good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And my big question is, the time it was good, it was still Nigerians or Africans we had living in this continent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the switch happened, but my big question is it impossible to switch back?
There is one thing our grandfathers forget to tell us. During those times, we still had great influence of colonization. For example, all the British and the Portuguese, for example, where my father built his house is called McCarthy Hill. It was named after a British man who came there. He's called Sir Alexander McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, they were still living there. Those great, powerful English, Portuguese, white men were. So, for example, McCarthy. Sir Alexander McCarthy would not let McCarthy be. So he was still there. It is after when we clearly pushed everything out, and now we got the power, and now look at what we are doing.
So it's only one way to bring these people back. If you can bring these people back to
I
the
swear to
society,
God,
maybe.
the only way that Africa stands a chance. Because how many years are we going to wait for our perception to change? It's even getting worse and worse. Who were the ones selling the slaves to the white man? It's not Africans. We will never change our perception, so we will never get better. But for example, if Nigerian entire government system was a white man who makes sure the system, bureaucracy, democracy, law, and justice is there, operational, everything will go well. If somebody gives you money, go and buy 5 bags of cement, come and build my house. You go and buy 4, he will sue you, the court will punish you. He doesn't care who you are. Next time you do the right thing. If you drink and drive, the police catch you, they give you tickets, they take you. No,
You know,
everything is in place, bro. Until then,
then it means we are our own problems, and we shouldn't
that's what I'm
complain
saying.
if
Africa will
somebody else
never.
treats us like we don't have a say or we don't have power. We shouldn't complain because we are our own problems and we are not our solution. Sadly,
Yes.
you know, it's
Ghana,
crazy.
finish it, finish
Okay,
it.
it's crazy speaking about mentality. You asked me if I ever lost anybody from a hospital, public hospital, or something like this. Well,
Mm-hmm.
not really, but in uni back then, there was this guy who had an accident or something, and he got rushed to the school clinic. Now, the nurses in the school clinic refused to attend to him
Hmm.
because they said his school identity card was not provided.
What?
Yeah. So they said they couldn't prove if he was a student and they wouldn't attend to him. Now, in the course of the back and forth, talking, attend to him, this and that, the guy lost his life. Sadly, he died.
Hmm.
And when he died, it was it was like a rage in the school. And then students took it upon themselves to destroy the school clinic. So they started breaking things. They burnt down the school clinic, in fact,
Wow.
I would say. And thinking about the whole situation, I'm like, okay, these nurses are really wrong and bad for not attending to this guy who didn't have an identity card. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unacceptable. It's heartless. But
Wow.
on the other hand, you have destroyed the school clinic now, which is meant for the remaining people who are still alive. There was probably another sick person in the school clinic who was just gasping for breath,
For breath
and
and
you've killed that person because that person cannot run. Obviously,
hmm.
any uncertain noise or change in the environment will kill that person. You're forgetting that tomorrow you will be sick and you will need a clinic to go to,
And now you've destroyed a clinic, the only one on campus.
the only one on campus.
Hmm.
So it's a circle of disaster. The people at the top and the people at the bottom just keep committing blunders.
It's very crazy. And that is the thing. There is an old wise man who says African presidents should be very careful because when they push the youth to the point where they have nothing to lose.
Hmm.
Do you know somebody who has nothing to lose? He has nothing to lose. So when he has nothing to lose, do you think when he's coming to break your house or what?
He has
His
nothing
ma-
to lose.
he has lost his job, he has lost his house, he has
He
lost
has
his
no life,
parents, he has
basically.
no life. So imagine a group of angry youth with nothing to lose. Even
Oh,
they don't care if they die today. It will be very dangerous. And
but,
that is where African leaders are pushing African youth. Because now a lot of youth don't have anything to their names.
hmm,
They only have a lighter for lighting their Igbo or cigarettes. They don't have anything to their name. They don't
nothing.
have a car. They don't have a job. They don't have properties. Nothing to lose. They have nothing. So when they are coming in full for you, they are coming to break your Range Rover,
They're
your
coming.
office, your investment, because they have nothing to lose, which is very, 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 very dangerous. But then, for me, I don't think there is hope for Africa. But let's all do our best and hope for the best.
You know?
That was a little bit about opinion time. Now we move into story time. Every day in my previous episodes, just as I did the introduction, I let people write me some stories or their problems and they send it to me on our Reddit page. and then I read it to the next guest there.
Yeah.
So this was a story from Nigeria. I want to read it to you. Maybe you can relate. You have a story related like this to share with us, and then you can
Okay.
tell us. So I'm going to read about it. The title of the story is, or the question is, what is the craziest thing you've witnessed in Nigeria that you wouldn't have believed if someone told you? Wow. The craziest thing you've heard in Nigeria that you wouldn't have believed if someone told you. So now the person is coming to say, while in school, I had female friends. One of her lecturers liked her and wanted to sleep with her before she could pass his course. She was worried about it. Then she shared her ordeal with a couple of us. One of our friends told her to follow him somewhere. He took her to his pastor, prophet sort of person. And then when they got there, she told the prophet, he told her not to worry. He did some prayers and told her to go in peace, that if the man sees her the next day, he's going to completely forget. I kid you not. The very next day, she passed by this man side by side, and he didn't even remember her. He stopped calling her to come over and stopped bugging her till she left the school. The man just simply forgot about her. No be juju be that.
Well, what happened to her course? I don't know. We just hear that she left the school. I don't know if she graduated. I don't know if she
I
forgot that she
mean,
was a student also.
if the professor wanted to knock before passing her and now he has forgotten, I'm sure she studied and then probably she passed.
Mhm.
Um, I want to read some of the comments, people, because there are some people who commented. I want to read some of the
Okay.
comments. Someone said somebody paid him a visit. Somebody paid the professor a visit.
A
I am
visit
sure the prophet, after the girls, the prophet told his bodyguards to go and catch
to
him
visit.
somewhere, give him
Uh-huh.
a strong warning, because aside that, it's probably going to be juju. And somebody came to write a very lengthy thing. He said, nobody in America can believe a tenth of the shit that went down while I was in boarding school in Nigeria. Wow, this is another story under the comments.
Under
So
the comments.
let's connect it.
Okay.
He said, seniors got expelled for having group sex outside in public. A housemaster bragged that they cannot fire him on his first day. Before nightfall, the man was already gone. He flogged a goat in human skin with cutlass. What?
Mhm.
What does that mean? Okay. There were cameras everywhere, bathrooms included. It was done so to prevent sex in a Christian school. The only thing they managed to achieve was footage of minors 10 and up screwing each other. I was using a metal bank bed to work out by lifting it up, bench press style. My guy was on the bed. Boom. I lifted the bed up too high. The ceiling cracked at that point. 5 minutes later, my guy says, who is spraying me? 5 seconds later, a rat landed on his face. Oh my god. Have you ever seen one guy against groups of 10 or more people and win? Okay, so he's actually writing series of stories he has seen. One of them being that a rat fell on someone's face,
Someone said,
and
uh-huh.
this can happen everywhere. And I think the possibility of this happening in India is higher because I've been in India before. This has no Nigerian affiliation. But then, yeah, what do you think happened to this man? Is the
Well,
prophet that they went to see that powerful?
hmm.
What do you think might have happened to him?
So, like we guess or like we suppose now juju, because one thing I know so well with African professors, especially the ones who go after their students, they are relentless. They don't give
Mm-hmm.
up.
Yeah.
So even if there was somebody in the comment section who said maybe the professor was paid a visit, I'm afraid that if you pay a professor like this a visit, you're only making the situation worse.
Yeah.
You don't pay him a visit does not guarantee him stop chasing you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of two things. Like we suppose, juju, of course, and secondly, maybe the professor got what he wanted and we just don't know that part of the story.
Hmm. Well, me,
Very,
my best guess is somebody paid him a visit.
well, for there was a situation recently with the Senate president of Nigeria and one of the
Mm-hmm.
senators. This is
Mm-hmm.
not even a professor in the school. This is like two people at par on same level, age wise.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the situation of the Senate president trying to do something with the senator who is female outside office, outside official work, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
just like you're saying, somebody or a group of people paid the Senate president, who is the man, a visit. And then what's the
Mm-hmm.
next thing that happened? He denied it, and then the senator got suspended for 6 months. Starting,
Ooh.
starting. So that's not the end. She got
Mm-hmm.
suspended for 6 months. She got taken off all her salaries and benefits. She basically, she basically just lost everything
Everything.
because somebody approached this man.
Wow.
And this is two people who are on same level.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to think that approaching a professor who is high above a student,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
difficult. There may be exceptions, I don't know, but I'm
Mm.
thinking about it from this is a very it's a very rampant scenario. It happens a lot, lots of universities, so I'm just thinking about it on a general scale.
Mm.
It's really unlikely that paying a visit to a professor one time
Will scare him like that.
would
But
scare him.
then there is the notion of this cult group in Nigeria and
Hmm.
university, which are very dangerous. What
Yeah.
if this prophet was affiliated to one of these cult groups, consulted them, and then they actually did a very good job? Because some people can really scare others. Or you don't
Yeah,
think he's a kid,
that's
but just because he's a professor, maybe he has strong ties to.
well, not possibly. It's possible that they could pay him a visit, but like they say, freedom of speech is is free, but freedom after speech is not free. So
Mm,
it's possible they paid him a visit, they did their thing, but it's so unbelievable to see that the graduation was just so smooth. Like I said, these professors
yeah.
are relentless. If he doesn't get what he wants from you, you either keep failing the course. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
fail his own course, he has friends who you can fail their courses
So
so
yeah, of
easily.
course. Yeah.
And we're students. I mean, we all have that one course which is difficult for us. We
Yeah.
all have that time when we do not go to class or we come late.
Mm-hmm.
You're a student. You really can't escape doing the wrong thing at some point.
True.
So it's difficult, really. It's difficult.
I
And saying that
mean,
the professor forgot,
mm,
wow, like he passed her side to side and forgot.
and
Wow,
forgot.
wow, that's
Yeah,
new.
that's
That's
crazy.
new.
So yeah, I think maybe we'll just believe Najuju
That should be that, in my
that.
opinion.
Great. Yes, in his opinion, Najuju that is the whole meaning of opinion time. Yeah. So, Mr. Nicholas, we are getting to the end of our show. Now we are getting into the smart time. So I'm going to juggle your brain a little bit and we get to know more about you in a more fun and amazing way. So
Okay.
since we are Africans, could you do me the honor and mention 7 African cities?
7 African cities.
Yes. but you can't give me two cities in one country. So which means seven African cities in seven African countries.
Seven
I'm not
African
talking
countries.
about the capital cities. Just seven African cities in seven
Wow.
African countries. Mr. Nicholas, this should be easy.
I'm afraid it's not so easy, but I'll try.
Yeah, try. Let's go.
I'll start, of course, with my
Mm-hmm.
hometown. I won't give the capital. I would say Lagos. It's not the capital.
Lagos.
I'll move
Mm-hmm.
over to just the country close by. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
mention Accra, but maybe I might just have to mention Accra.
Accra. So two.
Two, I'll move a little bit to the south, South Africa. I would
Mm-hmm.
mention Cape Town.
Cape Town. Three.
Yeah, three. I would move a little bit to the north now. I would go to Tunisia. I would
Mm.
mention Tunis.
Tunis.
Yeah.
Four.
Four. I would move to Morocco. I would
Mm-hmm.
mention Marrakesh.
Marrakesh. Five. Two more.
I'll move to hmm, crazy.
There is more. You can do it. I
Of
mean, there
course,
is more. I know
there's
you just haven't realized it. You just realized it and see
there's
that there are more.
there's so much more. Mm,
You have two more. Hmm.
and you said not, you can mention two from same country.
I mean, there are other countries, so just pick a country and go inside and find a city.
What are these countries? Okay, I would go to mm, Kenya. I would say what's this country in Kenya?
This country, Kenya.
This city. Oh, Mr. Jeffrey, please permit me to skip five. Please permit me to skip the remaining two. Let's save
I
time.
mean, yeah. Kenya was Nairobi, and then
Nairobi,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
I mean, there are other like Lomé in
in
Togo,
Togo,
Abidjan in Cote
in Cote
d'Ivoire.
d'Ivoire.
I mean, yeah,
Ethiopia, we have
yeah.
mhm,
Addis Ababa.
in
Get
Ethiopia.
them going. Okay. Which country would you say has the most interesting culture to explore? This is your own personal view. Which country do you think has the most, aside your motherland? Which other country do you think has the most exciting culture to
Culture.
explore?
I would easily say Ghana because
Really?
first, yeah, I would say for me
Mm.
Ghana because ever since I was little, I've had
Mm-hmm.
this likeness for Ghana because
Mm.
I had few classmates in Ghana
Mm.
and they told me at that time when we were kids that in Ghana you take the how do I say you don't so like in Nigeria you take the roots or the you say you are from where your dad is originally. Like
Mm-hmm.
if your dad is from a particular place, this is where you are
Wait.
from. But in
Yeah.
Ghana, it's quite different. I think it's where your mom is from, that's where
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
found this really interesting and it was strange for
Really?
me. Yeah, it was so strange for me because everybody around me just was where their dad is from. And then growing up, I lived in Lagos at some point, which is really close to
Mm.
Ghana. So I made some Ghanaian friends and I loved
Wow.
hearing them speak their language. Yeah. I
Mm.
also
Okay.
had,
It's the same.
you know, to say, yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I also had a girlfriend at some point who was who is from Ghana. Yeah.
Oh,
She's
that
from
is the
Ghana.
reason why you want to. This is the main reason you
No,
went to.
Mr. Jeffrey.
You just went to. But
No,
that was the
no,
main reason why
no,
you.
no,
Okay. Okay.
Mr.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
So
Great.
she's from Ghana, although had lots of UK and England background. So she used to
Mm.
switch up the British accent with the Ghanaian tree. It was so lovely and sweet. And yeah, it's really similar to the Nigerian culture, the food,
Mm.
the lifestyle, the people. So yeah, I would easily choose Ghana. I haven't explored Africa so much. I
Mm.
would love to.
Okay.
It's crazy anytime I think about it that it's so expensive. Sometimes exploring Africa, which is my
Yeah.
continent, is more expensive than traveling to another continent. You know, it's
Bro,
crazy.
Here in Europe, with 20 euros, you can get a flight to another
somewhere.
place, and then you just, I'm telling you,
But
it's crazy.
it's crazy. So yeah, easily I'll choose Ghana.
Okay, great. In the next question, I need to ask you a question to ask the question. Which place in Nigeria have you always considered and wanted to go but haven't gone yet?
Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt.
Yeah,
Good. So, would you rather experience the nightlife in Port Harcourt or the nightlife in New York City if you had the chance to do either of them once?
nightlife in New York City, of course. The nightlife in New York City, of course. Why? Port Harcourt, why? Why Port Harcourt? Oh no, the nightlife in New York City. Why
Why
Port
Port
Harcourt?
Harcourt? Why?
What is Port Harcourt? Oh,
My brother, don't
yeah.
give Port Harcourt away. Oh.
Quickly. So nightlife in New York City, I'm sure it will be
Okay,
crazy.
the next
Hmm.
question. Which country's food do you think is most overrated and which is underrated? What do you think? Which country's food, based on your perception and your opinion, do you think is most overrated or is less overrated?
Hmm. Overrated. I don't know because personally,
Mm-hmm.
I'm up until recently. I used
Mm,
to be very selective with food. I
mm-hmm.
just stuck to my fries and burgers and rice. I go to a restaurant. I'm looking for what I am used to. Up until
Mm,
recently, when I started to try, some new foods, and I'm liking it actually. So for
mm.
overrated, I can't say, but for underrated, I think the Indian food is really underrated.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Indian
Some
food is
masala and
some masala and
some paprika
chapati.
and some
Yes,
things
there's
some
some things.
chapati and some
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
there. Okay.
Hmm.
All right,
So,
guys, make sure you go find some Indian food because our brother here thinks that it is underrated. And my last question for you, Africa or Europe? Which one feels more like home to you now?
hmm, still Africa.
Still Africa.
Yeah,
It
Africa
feels
still.
home.
It still feels more like home. I mean, I've lived
Mm.
here for 2 years. I would say 2 years only,
Mm-hmm.
less than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Africa, I still have that strong connection and bond. I still sometimes feel like feel like I'm there. My mind is there, but my body is here. If you can understand. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Africa still feels like home. I miss it a lot of times. If I have the slightest opportunity, I would want to visit, I would want to go back
Yeah.
and feel that,
And connect with the
you know,
vibe. I'm
you know,
eating my microphone. Connect with the
and
vibe and everything there.
everything. Yeah.
Great. I mean, it's been a fun, amazing, thoughtful, educational, inspirational, informational conversation with you,
Mm,
brother.
thank you.
Well, we are on the mark of the 60th minute, so we are drawing the curtains. What are your last words to a young man, a young woman in Africa who has listened to our podcast? What are your words of hope, your words of encouragement for anybody who is trying and it looks like there is no hope?
Well, first of all, I would say to anybody generally, not just any African, if 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 you don't like what you see or you don't like the situation that surrounds you, you need to start
Mm,
by changing what's within you. you
yeah.
know so you need to
Mm-hmm.
start by changing those mindsets, those mentalities,
Mm,
those beliefs in code. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So basically, this is my major point. If you don't like the situation you find yourself in or the situations you see around you, start by changing what's within you.
Great.
Yeah.
Start by changing what is within you. If you think you don't like what you're seeing, try to do something else. You can't be doing the same thing over and over again and be expecting a different
Different
result.
result.
So that is it, Mr. Nicholas. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. And viewers, thank you for staying tuned. Do what to like, subscribe, write a comment. Let me know what you think about Mr. Nicholas' opinion. Let me know what you think about my questions, what you want me to ask our guests on our next episode. Until then, Mr. Nicholas, thank you
Thank
very
you
much
so
for your
much for
time.
having me.
After this, yes, I will contact you at the backstage and then we'll take
Okay.
it from there. So
All
thank
right.
you and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Thank
Adios.
you. Bye.